today we have quite a number of things that we're going to be discussing. We're going to be looking at some issues concerning street kids. We'll touch base with the Black Wings who managed to get a result in Conakry over the weekend. We'll have a conversation on the various national teams and also issues concerning the Ghana Football Association. But for now, I have three very wonderful people in the studio, three people who have contributed in their own way to help ensure that our kids we see on the streets on a daily basis get some level of attention. I do have Ataa Lartey, who is the founder of Street Academy and is also a former sports journalist here at GVT. So good to see you.
Nice to meet you too.
Great. And then I also do have Debbie Lee. Debbie is the president and founder of Naidvar Trust. Debbie, good to see you as well.
Thank you for inviting us.
And then I also have Courtney, who is the executive vice president, I believe, and the chief operating officer of the Joint Commissioning International, and is also an ambassador to the Naidvar Trust. Hi, good to see you.
Hi, good to see you too.
Okay, so sir, if you don't mind, if I could start with you. I mean, what is Street Academy all about, and why would you be running this organization for what?
Street Academy is an institution that exposes the hidden talent of the less fortunate, needy, and stretching on the streets of Accra. We are into sports, drama, culture, and basic education. We are not doing non-formal education. We are into no-formal education. We bring children who have never had an opportunity going to school before at the age of 10 to 16. And to your first time meeting, a lot of children have passed through Street Academy are doing very well. Name Agbeku, the boxer. Naming the recent Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, the only bronze medalist in boxing, Abraham Mensah, they are all product of our Street Academy.
How did you get them?
Well,
I mean, do you just go around getting the kids and then they are part of whatever program you have there?
We have, in every committee, we have assembly members, unity committee, and market quiz. So we are talking about the needy. Because it's free, it's not open to everybody. We want those who matters, those who are needy, those who can fit into the program what we bring.
So how do you determine who is a needy person? Maybe I may be one, you never know.
We are in the community, you know, community, somebody's brother is somebody's sister's friend in the community that we live in. We operate within Jamestown, Bukum, also the fishing community, Choco and Abubushi. So within the community, we know those who are really in need so that we can put them into our program.
Okay, so on the screen now there's a walk you did just last weekend. So that's you, I'm sure. And that's a number of kids that we see in there going through. I believe this looks like Accra Central.
Yeah, Accra Central.
This looks like Accra Central. So what, you managed to get all of these kids over the weekend to go on this walk to create a certain level of an awareness, I believe?
Yes, we are creating awareness. They are part of, within that, the school, we have 80 children in the school. We have over 2,000 children that will figure into the formal school. So they are all part of the work yesterday that you are seeing.
Okay, so let me get Debbie into the conversation. Okay, so Debbie, if you can help me, what role or what roles do you play as far as this group or these kids are concerned?
Yeah. Probably just to give you a little bit of the background, I met Atta 15 years ago. I was teaching at Kolebu Hospital, and I just by chance met Atta at the Arts Centre, and I saw the extreme poverty that was going on, and I thought everybody has a part to play to help the kids. So I set up Naidvar Trust, a small charity, and you know we do what we can to develop projects that will help a sustainable future for the children. And actually, I think it's important for you to get an international message now as well. So it's not just holding the issues here in Ghana, it's getting the message globally about what can we do for children in poverty.
That's an interesting one. So you've been partnering them for 15 years now?
15 years, yeah, 15 years.
Okay, so you went to the Arts Centre, you met them,
Yeah.
you were probably inspired by what you saw there and decided to be a part. Within the last 15 years, would you say that your association with them has been successful?
I've seen a huge success, but we're still on the journey. So, you know, we can name children that would have been on the street, would have probably gone to crime or hustling, that are now in respectable professional positions. And that's a great thing for society. But we also know there's still a lot more children that are out there that are just getting lost in the system. And I think what you see, particularly in Accra, and it's not exclusively here, you know, there's massive investment going on with businesses. It's looking very glamorous now, but you've still got that extreme poverty going on. It's about how you get that bridge. You know, so how do you get the society to move up? And I think everybody has a role.
That's interesting. Let me get Jean into the conversation. I'm not too sure how you take care of all these kids, where you get your funding from, because I mean, supporting these numbers, I'm thinking of even one day, and 1 week, and 1 year, and so on and so forth. I mean, I don't know what role you play in ensuring that these kids get some kind of financial attention to support them on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis.
Yeah, thank you, and good morning. So Debbie and I work for the same company, Joint Commission International. So we help to improve quality and patient safety in healthcare organizations across the world. And I met Debbie because she provided a presentation program for Joint Commission employees. And Naidvar Trust, she talked about the work that they were doing across Africa, and I said, I really want to get involved in this. And I've been listening to Debbie and hearing about all the stories, and when she talked about the health law and the work that Ataa was doing, I said, I want to be a part of it. So I really want to be there and be involved. In terms of the financial situation, you know, Naidvar is getting donations, private donations. We need to increase that. We need to get, again, it's creating that awareness, not only here in Ghana, but in the United States where I'm from, because people just aren't aware of what's going on. So bringing these pictures back to my community, to Joint Commission, will be very, very helpful in creating that awareness and helping the fundraising.
So essentially, you don't tell these stories locally, you tell them outside Ghana as well.
Yes.
That's really interesting. And in that direction, I'm wondering, I mean, you take these photos, these pictures, these visuals to, I believe, God knows who, and give them a reason why they need to support organizations like this, I guess.
Yes, because if I just say, you know, there's children in poverty in Africa, that's what people hear. But once they see the pictures, once they hear my stories about actually what's going on, it makes it real, and so then they'll donate. So I think it'll make a real difference.
Great.
The work that Ataa is doing is just incredible.
I mean, Ataa, you've been doing this for 27 years, you told me.
The academy has exists for 30-something years, since 1986, the academy.
So that's 37 thereabouts.
Yes.
Okay. And in that 37 years, you've been able to run it with the support of God knows who. Now we want to look at another 37 or more. For organizations like this, sustainability is everything. You don't want a situation where it turns out to be just a one-off thing, and then God knows what happens to these kids in the short term, in the medium term, and in the long term. What are the plans to ensure that even if someday, I mean, you decide to move on to something else, or someday when you probably have other interests, or you probably have a bit too much on your hands, this project is sustainable?
This project has come to stay. People are asking why you don't move to another city or so. I want, because we want to do it very well, not at all. So one place for now is not for us. Because you look at the children, we feed them thrice every day. You go and open another branch somewhere. You are just stressing yourself.
Well, especially when you probably are not in a position to manage all of them. Yeah.
I know what you mean. When you come to now, on the mercy of MTN, we have a very nice building. If I had moved somewhere, I couldn't have called this building.
Somewhere around the art center?
Yes, we are within the art center.
Okay.
We are within the art center. So under the mercy of MTN, we have a nice building we are using. If people want us to move out in somewhere, we told them no. It's money that does everything. You don't have the money to sustain what you are doing. Why do you go somewhere? I believe in sustainability. Let's in the next 10 years, who knows? Maybe God will throw me some money that I can do something somewhere. Then we'll continue.
Yeah, because I was going to come to that. I mean, sometimes I see some of these organizations, and they come across to me as organizations that are pretty stable in probably just a small part of the country, and then people ask questions, Is there a chance you can bring it to this region, that region, that region? But I know it would come down to the cost element and all of that. Maybe that's where Debbie and Jean would come in, because they are helping to support the organization. Again, I'll put the same question to you, Debbie. I am looking at sustainability because a lot more kids with time may need some kind of attention going forward.
Yeah, just to share with you, within Naidvar Trust, so we started with Ataa. Very quickly afterwards, we established a centre, it's a music academy in Bolgatanga. And within Bolgatanga, we've taken the whole sustainable picture now. So it's not only, all the health, education and nutrition of the kids, it's also how can you get the funding within the locality to keep the future. And so we now have a farm, and the farm is producing goods and getting money. We have a music studio that's making an income, and it's all small, but it's getting away from the reliability or external donation all the time, so that you've got the control, and that you can keep the kids having what they need when they need it. So we got that model, and we also then set up in Kenya. So there's a sort of a chain of events, and we're beginning to understand what we need to enable sustainability. And I'm hoping that next year we're going to actually write that up so that we can communicate that round, so that you've got a blueprint of these are the things that you're going to need if you really want a long-term future. Because the danger at the moment is people like Ataa was to retire. What happens to that school? If it wasn't for Ataa, he wouldn't know the contacts and the right people to get the investment. So we don't want that. We want this to be all the time. We've got kids in poverty. We need the actors of the world, and people that care.
Jean, let me come to you again. I mean, you go out there to your country telling them these stories and why these kids need a certain level of attention. When you go and tell these stories, what is the general feedback you get?
Well, I'm just starting with this, so I'm starting to tell the stories.
Okay.
And I think the feedback, when Debbie asked me, when I was coming, Debbie asked me for clothing for the kids. And I reached out to my community and I said, if you have any kids' clothes to donate, I brought 3 humongous suitcases worth of clothes, and I still have double that amount at home. So there is, everybody wants to help. They want to know what they're supporting. They want to know how to help, and it doesn't have to be necessarily all monetary. It can be just volunteering. Debbie's board needs help, and so we talked about that. But and even the crafts that I saw in the art center, beautiful work, and I know that would be something that my community and all of the U.S. would be interested in. So how do we get that word out that there's these crafts that people are doing, and how can we sell those and raise money for the school?
Okay, so I'll give you the final question on this. Again, we're looking at a project like this in the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. For all these years that you've been associated with this organization, would you say that you are making the kind of impression on the lives of these kids? You mentioned the lives of Agbeko, you mentioned some footballers and all of that. Let me just ask, these guys, do they come back to, if you like, help out every now and then?
In Africa, people don't believe in volunteerism. If you call them, on Saturday we call Abraham Mensah to come and say hello to
The kids?
No, to Debbie and Jay.
Okay.
They came and say hello to Debbie, and he promised he would join us yesterday for the wedding. But this one he has called me. Should I come for something? And that's Africa for you.
Well, that's interesting. And you saw the pictures over there of the walk that was held here in Accra. And for anyone paying attention to the organization or anyone watching us, we pray that you extend a hand of support in there. Like John said, it's not all about monetary. Sometimes you just volunteer to work, pass by on a Saturday, a Monday, a Tuesday, assist with a thing or two, help clean up the place, stuff like that. Do some donations, clothing, food, whatever you can to support those kids there. And someday, you never know how these things will touch the lives of these children and make an impression on their lives. Let me say a big thank you to Jane, a big thank you to Ataa Lartey, and a big thank you to Debbie as well. We'll go for another quick break. When we return, we'll touch base with our other issues.